Hello everybody, this
Hi
is
there.
Faisal again, hosting this time Sir Mike Mangini from Dream Theater alongside Hicham from our band Sakadoya. This is the fourth
Yay.
episode.
Yes.
We see again Oumaima as the journalist. I'm
That
gonna
would
leave
be
you
me.
guys to it. Hope you're having a good time. Take care of yourself. Long live now.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the introduction. Thank you guys and welcome to a new episode of the MCE Project. Today we're hosting both of one of the talented people that I've had the chance to encounter. We have Hamza from Sakadoya. They're pretty
Yes.
well known here in Morocco. And we have the terrific drummer Mike Mangini. Thank you so much for accepting the invitation. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
So I'm gonna start off the interview with a very known topic that we're facing these past 2 years, which is the current pandemic. What was the impact of the coronavirus during your artistic days in the past couple of years?
Well, the initial impact was nothing short of the most devastating attack on the ability to have a job, income. That's the understatement of the century. We're not alone in our business, but it was a complete attack on us. There's no question about it. So that's not good. But, I was forced to reevaluate and reinvent. And to be honest with you, I had been wanting to set myself up to do a whole online thing for a long time. And I always said, okay, next tour, next break, I'll do the next thing, whatever. So I made a store, I made a video on demand site. I started amping up my social media presence because I hadn't done really any in 10 years. I mean, that wasn't something I was really looked to do in Dream Theater. In fact, probably quite the opposite, was to just kind of not so much do that and just, whatever, just
on one thing,
just be in the band and, do that. But I should have actually been a lot more active. I should have done a lot more and just done that for myself. But I didn't. And so I had a lot to make up. I had a lot to make up, and I got a lot done.
That's what led to the online courses, if I'm right.
Yes, and that's a whole nother thing. People can tap into me without a hotel, without a plane ticket, and they don't have to even smell me or anything.
Ain't that amazing?
It is amazing indeed.
Wow.
You discovered a whole new world.
Yeah, I mean, I love to eat garlic, so this just protects everybody.
That's good. That's good. So I guess the impact was good for you.
I used it. I certainly used it for good. Oh, I needed to do all this stuff. Yeah.
That's great. So I guess Hicham has a question for you right now.
Yes. First of all, I want to thank you guys. Yeah. So as I said, I want to thank you guys for having me here tonight, and it's a great pleasure, and it's a huge honor for me to be here. With Mr. Mike, of course, the infamous Mr. Mike Mangini here.
Of course.
So, I know you get asked this question like a gazillion times before, and I had to do it, and it's about your drum setup. It's unusual. Yeah. It's huge. I know. I mean, can you just tell us a little bit more about that, and why did you choose this setup, and how does it help you play in such ease and accuracy?
The answer to why I made some choices with that particular drum kit over there and all the other ones that I play is technically, and in a derivative way, it chose me. I didn't choose it, meaning it's a calling. It's almost like a magnetic thing, a force field, something pulling you, just like when I was 2 years old and opened the LP records to the records that my older brother and sister would play on the record player in the corner of the dining room. It was calling me. I looked at pictures of the drums. I saw shapes. I heard things in my head. I understood it. So the bigger drum kit is about orchestration. It's about looking at an instrument saying the keyboard player has 88 keys. Why doesn't anyone else in the world sit there all miserable questioning the keyboard player? Why do you have to use 88 keys? Or why don't you set up 73? How come it's all these people don't have a calling, and all they can do sometimes is call out people that do mind their own business. I mean, for me, I feel like a boat. I feel like a boat, and I'm just going forward. I'm not in anybody's wake, and I'm loving it, having a good old time. So, look, that's the calling right there. Is I have to do it, whether it's understood or not. But it's about orchestration. You know, that I can't hit a little, a little tiny baby drum that's this big. It sounds like a Chihuahua dog when the music when the music is heavy. It's all about the music, and it's about the calling. And that's the purpose of all this stuff, all these things in our life. You get a calling, and it's a satisfying life to live where you are like in that boat, and you know you're in the right one, and you just don't know everything that's ahead, but you're in the right boat, at least one that works.
Exactly, at least one that's going forward. Yeah.
The second part of your question was about it's set up in order
the setup,
as far as playing it. Well, it is set up according to some things I found studying cognitive science and also experimenting and teaching and observing, which was to order the senses is a way to memorize things and retain them more deeply in your memory. For example, the most important one has to do with shape, and that is our eyesight to perceive shape. But for a blind person, it's fine because shape is still shape whether you can see it or not. Okay, so shape. So I want to be mindful in saying eyesight. If someone doesn't have it, it's fine because your sense of touch can feel the shape of a triangle. It can feel the shape, whatever it is. But this is a priority. And by reading some philosophy too, Plato was right about things being a shape and form first. So was Augustine. Was wonderful about who drew a triangle on the ground for the first time, and what about someone in some other land that drew it too? They weren't in touch. So where did it come?
Exactly.
Where did it come from? What is an image? What's a form? So that's the whole thing. Is the eyesight is important because my right hand lines up with my right foot. My left hand lines up with my left foot. And when I have the hi-hats flip, it makes it easier to put the information in. That's all I can tell you. It's easier than the regular drum set.
And that's what amazes me, because you find such an ease moving around the kit. It's like if you're playing like a normal regular 5 pieces drum kit, and it's amazing. It's amazing because I mean, there's other drummers that use much bigger drum kit than use, but the way you choose to set up the cymbals, the height, how you split the toms around, and how you split the hi-hats around, it's just amazing. It just to me it's
Thank
amazing.
you.
That's all I can say. So
thank you. I mean, every time I set up a new configuration, it's about some kind of interest or calling or something, or necessity. Sometimes it's a necessity. For example, this smaller drum set that you can see me, I just premiered a video today on my YouTube channel playing the Alien by Dream Theater, the new song.
Yes.
So you should check it out. I filmed it at 110% speed because because that's part of my preparation. I mean, what about when our body clock gets turned around? How am I supposed to play a song like that when I'm tired and I want to experience it here?
Yes.
Plus,
You're right.
Plus it's funny. But it's just all fast. I mean, but it's done in real time.
I mean, I guess that brings us. I mean, the last line you just said is just fast. It brings us to Hicham's next question, I guess.
Yes.
He's pretty known for a thin.
Exactly. He's one of the fastest and most accurate drummers in the world. I mean, surely there's drummers that can play at 260, 280, even 300 BPM, but still you can't feel that accuracy when they hit the drums. I want to know how you got to this level of playing, because I want to someday get there. I just want to get there.
You can. Part of the reason why I teach is because I know that even though all of us have some kind of innate talent and a different level and combination of it, I do know that at the end of the day, the system, the learning, the method is more important. Because look, if I didn't believe that, I wouldn't be a teacher. That's why some of my students surpass or could surpass me at anything that I do, because they're using the right system and they're getting it from me. They're getting way better than I got in less time, because I didn't know. I didn't have anybody to go to. So it took me 15 years to figure something out. I just figured out for someone paying me $100 for a silly drum lesson. And I would have gladly paid someone $100 to find out the answer to this, like, whatever it is, to save them a decade of time. But for crying out loud. So look, the way that I did that, and what I did, I think was a little different than anyone else that I'm aware of anyway, was that I split my practice time such that I was always aware of my fatigue level while practicing. So if I wasn't fatigued, I would work on tens of thousands of repetitions for about 3 or 4 hours straight of the same pattern, and try not to make excuses, telephone calls, go to the bathroom, I'm hungry, blah blah blah.
That would be me.
Yeah, well, I had to make major sacrifices, and then after anywhere from a 6 to 10 hour practice, I would then put 30 minutes in after my parents went to sleep at 11 o'clock at night. I put 30 minutes in, practicing as slowly as I could, just watching my stick tips and returning the stick tip to the perfect exact height it started. Because that upstroke, okay, it's mentally knowing that upstroke is coming completely changes the way that I strike a drum. And what happens, check it out now, between the strike of the drum and the eyes, which are always looking ahead, because I can take my eye and look to the right, but not move my head. If I take the time to move my body, it's too much time.
Yes.
So I would meticulously practice these eye motions, and then this simple down up, and that's where I get my accuracy from. And the speed comes from an innate ability to understand what was happening in my body, meaning I knew that these bigger muscles in my lat and back here are responsible for the speed, for being able to shake
I'm pretty sure they are.
Yes.
I got students that are online, pedaling speed and stuff like that, that all studied with me, bare hands, because I set that record, 15, 17, I don't even know.
Of course,
know when I did that.
A long time ago.
The one single hand stroke, roll.
But the bare hands with no sticks.
Yes.
Wow.
That's the important one, because that's the one that shows where the strength comes from. But even then, I'm still using bigger muscle groups for that. So anyway, there's a combination of things that account for the accuracy to go with the speed, because I'll tell you one thing about the speed. The actual, if there was a speed contest in the world, well, if there is, if you want there to be, I won one of them, but I'm not going to win them all.
You did.
I'm
pretty sure you will.
I don't know. It doesn't. Look. Past a certain point, it has served its purpose. Now, there's ways for me to push to get a little more speed that I see people doing, and there is no way I would do it. That anyone out there that's taking their hand for the sake of speed, you would think I did it for the sake of speed. Speed is a means to an end. Mine was about power and accuracy with the speed.
Yes,
now there's pure speed, and these people are closing the gap between the thumb and first finger, and like going with their fingers.
With the back fingers.
Yeah, and they're on they're in their bedrooms on things. That's not real. I mean, not to criticize that. I mean, I want this to come out right, because I think that's great. I absolutely think it's wonderful. It's just not the same as going to the stage and playing for 3 months, because none of my peers that play in ice hockey arenas or big crowds and do this week after week would ever play like that. Because it would be career ending for me if I tried to push the speed for the sake of grabbing like that, just to make Instagram videos or something. I don't know.
That would be bad.
Yeah. So but at the same time, as long as they don't get hurt, I love it because it's inspiration. I love it because it's people following their calling. I love it because I just love when people dig in and try to do better. So, understand my intent here. I love it, but it is dangerous to a point, and I have pulled the plug on that particular move because I know that if I do that, it's going to be one hit in a real gig. Like when you're tired after. See, I'm not talking even about, this one plays real gigs and real. No. Weeks and weeks of touring. Being tired, big places, stuff like that. I mean, it's cold in there. You're not warmed up right. It's and it's just the way it is. I mean, I don't know any of my peers that are all my friends that have like the bigger gigs. Nobody does that stuff, and even if somebody's job it is to do that, like for example, the one speed guy that I'll mention who's doing it right, George Calais from Nile.
Of course.
Yeah. I mean, and what a wonderful person he is. Yes. I mean, oh my gosh. So, he's got, has done it in a way where he's used to being on stage, and he actually is developing that while also being out there. So I think that's been the difference for him to not get injured or anything like that, because I don't see quite the same thing. I mean, he's achieved that level. And it's like, at some point you're like, okay, we always want to push it. We do, but don't get hurt. And, I know where my line is, and I'm not going to push it.
You got to know when to stop. Yeah, you got to know when to stop. Yeah, and do the right thing, of course.
I'm gonna derive you from, because that was a beautiful course. That was a beautiful drum course. I'm sorry to interrupt because I was really amazed by how you were explaining it. But I have a question in mind that is intriguing me.
Yeah.
I want to take you back in the past a little bit, a few years back, like very long years back, to your first call for the audition of the band Dream Theater. So can you tell me a little bit more about how that audition went at first, like the first interaction you had with the band on the very first day?
It was a situation where I felt extreme peace. Okay. And I was able to, because I was so, I don't want to say I was so prepared. I prepared as much as I could with a very limited amount of time, because I was in South America for 9 days, and before that I was at Berkeley for the 7 most busiest days of the year. So I wasn't practicing all day, but I practiced enough, but I prepared for other things than just the songs. So I was I was preparing for the environment. I wrote down what could possibly go wrong here and made a preparation in my mind. Took extra headphones, extra towels, extra pencils. I had extra songs transcribed in case I was asked. I was really ready, but I was at peace. And the other thing is, again, it almost feels like I was being pulled along or guided, or there was just this, I don't know, this incredible feeling of being watched out for that I had from deep inside, where I just like, I was at peace with it. That's all. I don't know how to explain it. All I know is what I was feeling was extremely peaceful and confident. Like I knew because I had won almost like 50 something auditions before that. I hadn't lost one since I was 13 years old.
So it's true when they say that you set up the bar a bit too high for the other drummers, right?
Oh, wait.
Waiting.
I just minded my own business there. I mean, these are my friends. First of all, next, they are my friends. That's because good. They all do something I did not spend the time with. All of them, and all of them do something the other one doesn't do. They're all unbelievable. So I just was like, okay. And I thought about that before I went in, because we all knew who was going in there. We all were on the email chain. Yeah. So we all knew.
I've seen the videos. Yeah, I've seen the videos.
Yeah. So and so I was just like, all right. The last thing I'm going to do is try to be someone or something I'm not. I am not any of these guys. I'm not Mike. I'm not Marco. I'm not Virgil. I'm not Achilles. I'm not Derek or
Thomas Lang.
Peter or Thomas. I am not any of these guys. I'm me. They wouldn't try to be me. They would go in with a big smile to do what they do too. So it was just one of those things where I felt like I knew what the band was looking for, with the combination of learning the catalog and having some kind of sensibility with the with I guess the rock or metal portion as well as the time change thing. And I knew that one of the things that would be very important to them was the ability to react very quickly, and that's something my pattern recognition was more than ready for. So that's why I was at peace, because I knew if they give me whatever they give me to play, I absolutely know I'm going to understand it and I'm going to have fun. Just play it.
That actually was my next question for you.
Yeah.
It's about the integration process with the band. Like I'm speaking of the writing process when you guys went to the studio and stuff. How was your experience then? I mean, how easy was it for you? Like knowing your previous extreme metal projects. Like how did you
integrate?
Well, I'll tell you what, I integrated the way my parents brought me up when I go into someone's house, and that is to never open someone else's refrigerator. Now, if you think about that for a minute, if you just think about that for a minute, my discipline wasn't about the drums or drumming or what I played or didn't play. That's not where my discipline was. My discipline was taking the feelings I had that I'm not contributing anything here, writing, and I didn't for a long time. I'm really kind of doing what I needed to do for this job description, which was largely let these guys do this. Largely, they're used to Mike, who was in the band, you know, doing a lot of directing and so forth. And, you know, they didn't want that. That's just the bottom line. It's just the bottom line. They didn't want that. And it's obvious they didn't want it because they wouldn't even let me near the place to write the first record or the third or even the third. I mean, it took distance over time for me to get really more feet wet other than the self-title, which was weird because I write on keyboard and I had an iPad and everything, but it was that kind of Jordan zone, and I felt like I couldn't really be playing, which I did on the latest record, A View from the Top of the World. I wrote things on the keyboard and notes and lines and riffs, actual music writing, which is different than being, you know, well, I wrote the song, but what? I didn't write any notes? What do you mean? Like, how do you write a song if you don't write the song and write the music?
Exactly, yeah.
So drummers contribute, but they don't write the music, okay? Yeah. And so, you know, I mean, I did that on self-titled. I'm a listed songwriter, and I know I did beats and I hummed out some things or whatever it is, you know, that the drummers do. But it's not the same. It's not the same as going, I have a riff. And play that, and then all of a sudden, okay, Jordan goes, all right, well, can we do it this way? And then Petrucci's like, can I just change like 5 of those notes? Like, I don't care. I'm like, whatever. I mean, I'm just happy to contribute music notes and really consider myself a songwriter, you know, for this kind of thing. So I didn't have that. A dramatic turn of events. So my discipline had to put all that aside because I did it. I wrote a whole ton of songs that I had in the can. I played every single instrument, keyboard and MIDI anyway, on some with guitar and bass, but I had to shelve it. And I just went in there in 2 weeks and was in there with Petrucci, who was guiding me and like, okay, what about this? What about that? Then I tried this, tried that, tried this, listened to his ideas, and he listened to mine going, well, what do you have to say? Because it wasn't like people say I went in there and played some drum machine part. I mean, come on.
Yeah, I've heard that. Yeah.
I mean, what? Are you serious? Just why don't you ask John? All right,
exactly.
instead of me continuously answering this question the same way. It's like, yes, there were drum machine parts laid out, but that's partly for me too, to go in and say, well, what do you want? What's the basic thing you want here? Yeah. And then, you know, I take that and interpret it. So that's what it was. I had to shelve all of these, you know, I guess songwriting ideas that were constantly crossing my mind, and other things. It's just like, just put it out of your head. This is the song. It's written. It's finished. Play the drums and be quiet. Do your job. Make it easy for these guys. Play well and get out of here. And that's what That's what I did.
Yeah.
That's what I did. I played and left. I mean, I had no idea.
I played and left.
I mean, that was the thing. I mean, I'm fully capable of engineering myself to a finished level. That's what I do. I had nothing to do with it, though. I have nothing to do with the drum sound. I just hit the drum. I've had the same drums on every album, for crying out loud. I mean, you know what I'm saying? But that whole other thing was like, I'm not going to go and open someone else's refrigerator and help myself to things. I might not be invited, to eat and finish.
After that, exactly. Yeah,
That's all good.
That's true.
It's all good. It's all about making good music.
Good. I mean, it's all about making good music, and I'm listening to it going, these guys they can't even breathe the wrong note. It's like, I'm safe. I felt very safe. Like whatever they do is going to be great. I'm going to have fun. And I'll be a better bandmate if I do what they need me to do, and that's it.
And I wanted to ask you, like, on a personal level, because for me, I'm used to play like, heavy metal and stuff, and sometimes I want to try like new genres and stuff, and I find it kind of difficult to, to switch. Exactly. So for you, my question will be, how did you, how was it that you made it look seamlessly to transition from extreme drumming to progressive metal and movie rhythms and stuff? Like like playing with Steve Vai, James LaBrie, or even with Daniel PK on his album. Was that? Did that help?
All of it helped, and it helped working with all these amazing people. They all have different personalities. They all have different protocols for working with them. Not every drummer can hang and work with Vai, because Vai likes to tell them every note to play sometimes, and I loved it because the thing, but you can't be fake with this stuff. He knew I loved it. I'll never forget the Fire God, and he's like, "Oh, can you take the 7th note of that 11-note tuplet and hit it on that splash cymbal? Yeah, here, boom. Oh, no, try that splash cymbal." I find that funny. It's hilarious to me, and I feel like I'm satisfying somebody's soul. And plus, this guy's putting things in my head that might not be there and definitely wouldn't be there. So I'm learning all the time. I loved it. I'm doing like television impressions with him, and we were laughing.
Yes.
So, not everybody can do that, but I made the transition stylistically because I identified what it is that allows for stylistic transitions. Let me give you the Reader's Digest brief version of this. When I taught at Berklee College, the students have to play 5 beats. Now, when an alternative or rock drummer comes into the program and they study with me, that is the last genre that they're going to be tested on. The tests don't even call for rock playing. Most of the teachers don't want to hear it, right? Because they feel they have a different feel. That's all there is to it. So the dynamics, the control, the swing, and all this is in the other styles. That's why it is important to learn those other styles, because there's a swing and a dynamic to it. But the students who come to me, there's no way they could do it. And so what happened is, they're just going to fail their test. Half of their grade is going to be a D or an F because they can't play these styles. And so I would say to them, listen, half of your grade are these styles that you don't want to do. You're not coming to me for it. You don't want me to talk about it. That's why you signed up with me. But let me do this. Let me take what you want to learn, but use the protocols that help you learn this music. And they were like, okay. So
that's
what
really
I did
smart.
is I thank you. I identified that each of the styles, Afro-Cuban, Brazilian, blues, swing, and funk, I recognized that they each had a striking difference on the drums, the way the drums were striked and hit, and that had a different physical protocol. So once I realized what those were, to give the student the right sound and the right swing through their understanding of how their body works, they were able to get it all in one lesson. 5 minutes of style, that was it. They were done, and they all got really high grades. So, it's something that I know how to do, not just from one kind of rock to a different kind of rock, or metal to a different kind, but from Afro-Cuban and the swing of Afro-Cuban to, because it's a different swing than jazz. John Bonham had a lot of the blues swing, and between the notes, it wasn't da 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 da. It was da 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 da. It was a little like that, but I have been hired not to do that. I have been hired by bands to stay on the grid. They're like, we're going to pay you. This is your job. We want the notes like this. Okay, So that's what I do.
Everybody's happy.
Yeah. And the Dream Theater stuff is laced with there's a lot of swing portions and a lot of parts. It's just that when you have 140 tracks of keys and guitar, especially, you can't hear those small notes. You'd have to really, the drums would have to be turned up to be way louder than everything. And I would have had to hit those ghost notes differently. Like I would have had to hit them harder, which would have defeated the purpose. So it's a tough call there.
Thank you for clarifying that, because as I mentioned, for someone that doesn't know this stuff, it amazes them.
It does.
It's just you made it look so easy, and it's not, and it's actually not. I've tried it. I mean, I don't have the same experience as you do, of course, but I tried it before and it just didn't work. So
Well, look, my drum teacher told me something that might be more valuable than all this philosophy, which I think is correct, and I think on a cognitive science level and physical level, I believe it is correct, because it's worked for everybody, so it must be right at some point. But my drum teacher said to me, Mike, the guy that practices the song 300 times gets the gig, and that's all he said.
I have one more question. For you.
Of course you do.
I'm just gonna throw it out there. I don't know the answer, but
go ahead.
Can we someday somehow see Mike on the extreme metal scene again?
I have no idea what is happening 11 days from now, but the bottom line is that I don't aspire to. I think that a lot of other drummers have taken the speed thing with their hands and feet further than I have, even though I'm capable of doing it, playing speeds with a maybe a whatever accuracy level or velocity level that I have. And I can tell you, I was measured when I went to China. My actual velocity strikes with my speed. I'll tell you what they were in a minute. But I don't aspire to, because I'm trying to sew up my solo album with the music. It's been done for quite a long time, but I'm sewing up all the vocals and those end of it. So it's going to take me a couple of months to get. I don't know. It might be weeks. It could be 6 days. I don't know. But anyway, my solo music is the opposite. It's the opposite of these things that I'm known for the most part. So no, I don't aspire to do it. And I'll tell you what, the amount of hours that it would take me, just to. I know what it's like to get speed and to hold the tempos for long periods of time. I'm just like, oh my gosh, I don't know. I don't aspire to, but if I had to, so I'll go in a room and come out in a week or 2, 3 weeks, 3 months, who knows.
I know. Trust me. I know. I know you can do it. I know you can do it.
Well, but the thing is, inherently though, my velocities were tested, and a scientist named Shinya in Beijing tested, and he found that my velocities at 20 beats per second weren't any different at 8 beats a second.
Oh.
Wow.
And I was slamming at 8 beats a second from this high up, but somehow from this high up it was the same, which I'm telling you, that must have been my practicing of the stick tips and pulling with the muscles. I don't know.
Yeah, and that was my remark about the accuracy. I mean, you're well known for that.
Let's talk about the hard choice that you had to leave Berkeley after so many years of teaching. I mean, how was it? How was that experience?
It was extremely emotional, because I love teaching. That's why I've been doing it and loving it so much now. And as soon as someone's in a lesson with me for 5 seconds, I'm like, look though, I just get over that it's me, this guy on the poster or whatever. Just forget it. We have work to do. You're paying for it. I'm going to save you some money. Let's go. And they're like, whoa. I immediately break the barrier. I love teaching, and it makes it so difficult for me because I had such deep relationships with my students. 200 of them wrote me these incredible letters of recommendation that I was holding for a final level grade raise up to full maximum professor, whatever it is, and. You know, I don't even remember that. Whatever the level, I don't know. But
it's the highest level.
yeah,
It's
the
the
higher
greatest
level.
level.
You know, and it was so emotional for me. And the thing is, I love my colleagues. You know, my fellow drum teachers there. My God, I mean, I see them around. I see them on the street. I got my big smile, big hugs. I really love them. And the thing is, I went to them for, you know, Alberto. I got that swing for the Brazilian, and I went to Joe Galeotto and got the thing like, Joe, what are you doing here with this sound? It doesn't sound the same as what's going on? Or if it's any of them and all of them. I mean, I went to so many people and just, you know, absorb their knowledge and just to save me time. It was so great. As far as it being an establishment and all that, you know, that's a whole different issue that I didn't like. When I got emotional in the Dream Theater audition, part of it, yes, I was excited, but I also was looking across the water at downtown Berkeley, and you know what I thought? And I was just so overwhelmed by it. I'm like, I am not sitting in that traffic again. I am not getting in a car and sitting in that traffic. And in fact, when I hung up that phone, I had pointed out the window and made a gesture. I made a gesture to
I know
Boston.
exactly how that feels.
Like, I am not getting in that traffic anymore. So, you know, the parking, gosh, it was horrible.
It's hard.
When the Red Sox were in town, you got to move your car. It was just a nightmare for me because I just, you know, I want to get in there and start teaching and playing. I don't want to be worried about this other stuff. I even bought a little Piaggio motorcycle. I put 6,600 miles on this tiny little 150,
an entire lifetime.
Yeah, it was so geeky looking. I loved it. I would wear a hockey jersey, drive this thing like right through downtown Boston, scoot by the cars, park the thing in the grass, just leave it, and you know that was good. I just hated driving in there, but anyway, it was so emotional because I really enjoy teaching. The bottom line.
So 4 Grammys, right?
Nominations.
Elaborate a little bit more about that.
It's nice. I mean, it's better being called names.
Of course.
I don't know. I mean, you know, at the end of the day, I have to take it all with a grain of salt, and like, you know, you can't have the high highs and the low lows affect you too much. What am I gonna feel differently because of a nomination or playing a drum part that worked for a song very well, or someone that thinks that everything I do is the worst thing that ever happened ever? I mean, I can't let either of them.
So, do you have any last words for the uprising drummers in the musical industry? Anything that you'd love to say?
Yes, I just would like to be a good influence in, you know, just relaying some common sense things, and that is to learn to get perspective on a situation, as well as to learn the experience. You have to have, it's like having a map. You could have a map and have this beautiful route mapped out, but then you didn't realize that you're driving down a street it's going to get you killed. So you don't want to go down the wrong street. Of
course.
Right?
Of course
so you have to have both.
Yeah.
You have to have both. You have to have the ground experience and the minutia, and also perspective. So us drummers, it's like, okay, what job environments are available for us is one way to look at it. Okay, what are the mechanics of all those? And most importantly, how do I get into them? How do I network? How do I connect myself to them? It's usually through people. So that's half of it. It's like, okay, what are the work environments? How do they work? And who is in them? How do I connect? The other thing is that we don't want to be someone that, you know, that we're not, but we do want to work. It's like, what is the purpose of music at the end of the day anyway? You know, sometimes we use it for income, and so you have to morph and kind of, you know, do what needs to be done for that. And I know for most of us, in a deep level, it's satisfying a calling. It's a deeply spiritual thing, and it's supposed to lead to that. That's what it's supposed to do, is lead to a greater state of awareness of what we are. What are we, you know, where are we going? How's it all work? And just to get some kind of, perspective and experience with that to help us just keep being better and better and getting better. That's all.
So thank you so much, Mike. Thank you so much for giving us these really like meaningful and yet educative answers. I mean, I'm not even a drummer, and you're like, you just made me go learn how to be one. So thank you you're a great teacher. You really are a great teacher.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
so
Hicham.
much.
Thank
you
you so
guys.
much for your time.
Thank you so much, Mike, for your time. Thank you so much. It's an honor.
You're welcome.
Thank you. We'll be having
Thanks,
Faisal
man.
for the closing.
I hope this was like beautiful.
It was.
I heard I heard nothing from the corner, so like I'm sure it was great. Thank you again, Hicham.
Yes.
For
Thank you guys.
for your wonderful words. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you so much.
That was nice.
Thank you, Hicham.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Nice to meet you.
Nice meeting you too. Thank you. It's an honor.